Well, gosh diddly darn it, Ford had did it again. They took a name from their super secret vault and they plastered it on another vehicle. Unassumingly, they brought back the name Maverick. And for those of you who were born after the year of 2000, that's it. That's straight just 2000. If you were after millennial, you might not know about the name of Maverick. It was a Ford attempt at trying to rekindle the spirit of the pony car by making a car that was smaller than the pony car. Didn't do too well. Neat car, but died out in 6 years?
Yeah, it
Anyways,
was a short timeline.
yeah. Anyways, so today's session, if you guys couldn't tell, is going to be about the new Ford Maverick. I'm Craig. This is Steven. Welcome back to the Broken Axle.
What's up?
So the big thing here to take away is that Ford had announced another pickup type thing that is going to basically undercut the size of the Ranger. And some interesting points that we're going to basically shotgun you guys with is talking about the purpose of the Maverick, the price point, which is the most interesting, I think, as well as why does it exist and what is Ford doing. So, Steven, give us a little bit of background about this new Ford Maverick.
Okay, so it's been all in pretty much all of the news networks for the automotive news journalists. I'm sure everybody's heard about it, but Ford has debuted it. A pre-order and the configurator is live on Ford's website. So if you like to go play around and build fantasy vehicles and see how much it's going to cost you, that's on. I know it's one of my favorite pastimes. And what we know, we'll start with what we know so far. So, based on the same platform as the Escape and the Bronco Sport, which of course the Bronco Sport's been everybody's mind the last little bit here. New Maverick is unibody on a slightly narrower than the Bronco Sport and slightly longer platform overall, just shy of 200 inches long overall. And runs the same engines as the Escape and the Bronco Sport, with the 2.5-liter Atkinson cycled hybrid as the base engine and the 2-liter EcoBoost turbo mill as the uprated engine.
What? 1.5 liter. It's the small engine. 1.5 liter.
Let me get a double check on that.
That's how they got the super awesome. Yeah, that's how it got the super awesome 40 miles to the gallon. Now, while he's looking that up, the interesting prospect about this is that Ford had the audacity to recognize us for the first time in years, it seems like, to saying, hey, we need a truck that's smaller than the actual truck. For those of you who are paying attention right now, the new Ranger as well as the Colorado and all these mid-sized trucks are kind of bigger than the old school full-size trucks are. And they've gotten so expensive now where the Ranger you can't touch until you hit almost $30,000. So what do you do about, the parts running vehicle or the vehicle that O'Reilly's has that has to go down to the warehouse? Well, Ford wisened up and they said, hey, we know you guys need a smaller vehicle. Here it is.
All right, so a quick double check on that.
1.5 liter, Steven?
It is 2.5 liter non-turbocharged hybrid. It's an Atkinson cycle engine as opposed to the conventional auto cycle. It's the same motor that's in the Escape hybrid, if anybody's familiar with that, which, all 7 people that bought that and enjoyed it, I'm sure know about it. Yeah, I'll go with that, right? I'm not a fan, but whatever. It gives Ford a couple of interesting legs to stand on here, right? That's going to be the first standard hybrid pickup on the market. There are currently hybrid pickups, but none of them are the standard. It's an option that you can up option. So that gives them an interesting leg to stand on. It is by a large amount the cheapest pickup on the market right now.
This truck is cheaper than a base model Corolla. Yeah, it's cheaper than the Corolla hatchback, which I adore completely. It's $22,000 is the Corolla hatchback. $2,180 is the XL base model that gets you the hybrid.
Yeah, it's a base MSRP of just a skosh under $20,000. Then with destination and some other stuff, you very possibly, obviously they're not at dealers yet, but you very possibly could have one at your dealer for under $21,000. Obviously, that's going to be a rarity. I'm sure they're not going to have very many Super Stripper XL models, but it's a thing. It exists. So we covered the engine stuff. Most of the chassis is based on the Bronco Sport / the Escape chassis, other than being a hair longer. The hybrid model, basically, you can't get it in four-wheel drive, which I don't think anyone's going to care. And that's probably going to be, I would say, a smaller percentage of sales than the base model normally is, because the 2-liter turbo is only a $1,000 option to move up from the 2.5-liter hybrid to the 2-liter EcoBoost. And I don't personally have any experience with the 2.5-liter, but 190 horse for the combined system output of the 2.5-liter Atkinson cycle and the electric motor is not a lot. That said, it's not going to be that heavy of a vehicle, but still, the 2-liter EcoBoost is well proven in basically every front-wheel drive thing Ford makes. It makes stupendous power in all of those things, makes a great torque curve, and has so far proven to be an absolutely fantastic engine. I see no issues there. It's probably going to be absolutely fantastic with that 8-speed auto and motivate this little thing to be surprisingly quick. So Ford's targeting mileage estimates
what's funny about this is... Sorry, what was interesting about this is that you can actually make a little hot rod out of these things for being a turbo, 2-liter turbo, front-wheel drive, but like vehicle. This thing weighs less than a Ranger does. The Ranger has the 2.3-liter high output turbo motor that makes 270 horsepower, whatever. This thing, tuned up on corn gas, it could be a little tire peeler, which is interesting to think about because it doesn't look like a hot hatch. It doesn't look like a sedan or a wagon. It looks like a pickup truck. However, it probably drives like a car.
Yeah, well, I would 100%. I would 100% suspect that an all-wheel drive variant with a good tune, when the tuners get a hold of it, is going to be surprisingly quick.
The Hennessy 300 package,
right? Like it's not a big stretch, honestly.
No. For some of you younger viewers out here, when Ford came out with the Taurus Show, the super high output version of their sedan, Hennessy came out, I think, with a 550 horsepower version of it that was faster than the Mustang at the time, and it completely wiped the floor with everybody at the time. They couldn't understand it. They just turned up the goose, add some corn, go fast.
It was so weird seeing these nearly silent, gigantic barges ripping off 12-second quarters like it was nothing.
Yeah.
Oh man. So mile per gallon, right? Ford's saying the only thing they've really said is 40 is their target or estimated what they're going to get. They don't have any cars back from testing yet. And that's obviously for the hybrid 2-wheel drive variant. Now we can cross compare that with the Escape with its hybrid 2-wheel drive variant, which gets like 41 miles to the gallon. Makes sense. Platforms are similar. I imagine coefficient of drag and frontal areas are also relatively similar. We should be on track.
Yeah.
The Escape in 2-liter all-wheel drive trim is good for about 33 miles per gallon on the highway. Once again, I expect we will see very similar results out of the Maverick. The real question is going to be what the 2-liter front-wheel drive Maverick gets, because that's a combination that currently does not exist anywhere.
No, you almost have to go back to the Ford Focus ST variant to get anything remotely close. Or did the Fusion have a turbo?
It did have a turbo 2-liter
version, or was it the NA 4-cylinder?
Nope, they had a turbo 2-liter in the Fusion as well. But both of those are obviously much slicker than the Maverick. So we'll kind of see how that plays out. I personally would be ecstatic with the Escape all-wheel drive 2-liter getting in the low 30s, that if they're able to crack into the mid-30s with a 2-wheel drive 2-liter, that is going to be really impressive for, a trucklet thing. Speaking of trucklet things, we're also going to talk about what makes this a truck or not a truck, depending on your perspective. A couple of things that separate this from most of the other trucks on the market, and a couple other vehicles that I believe are also in the segment with it. So, first things first. It's unibody.
The one vehicle that's in the segment with it. Yeah.
Yeah, currently there's only one vehicle in the segment anyway, besides the Maverick, so we'll get there. So yeah, it's unibody, right? And not only do I mean unibody as in body on frame, or not having a frame, you should say. But also, most, with the exception of the other one in the category here, and maybe a couple others, but of current production, nothing else is like this. The bed of the vehicle is part of the rear quarter panel instead of having a separate cab and bed, a la the Avalanche, which has long since been discontinued, although it had a frame. Some old Fords and a couple other things, but nothing else that's currently in existence.
Comanche. Yeah, the Comanche. Yeah. Rampage.
Yeah. So for current competitors, though, that are built this way as no-frame unibodies with a integrated bed, you have the longtime contender in the segment, the Honda Ridgeline, which I actually think is a fantastic vehicle, even if it is not really a truck. As long as you think of it as an Accord that can go to Home Depot, it's a fantastic vehicle.
Why not just take the Accord to Home Depot?
Because the Accord Cross Tour is the ugliest thing Honda made in 30 years.
Actually, why not just take the Honda Odyssey to Home Depot and lay down a tarp?
Okay, I got no refutation there because the man is correct. The minivan is the superior mini truck. I got no refutation there.
It is.
But
this brings up kind of the weird crossover, right? Because if you look at this analytically like a truck, right? A truck is meant for moving excessive loads or cargo and kind of has a stigma for being more ruggedized for like harsher environments, we'll just say. Not necessarily off-road, just harsher environments, maybe your fire trails or bad pavements. This vehicle, in that sense, looks like a car that has bigger tires on it, and it has the physical look of a truck, but however, it is a car underneath all of it. And so I'm over here like, if I look at it like a truck, it's going to get hated on by all the lifted pick-em-up truck guys with the flat billers and the diesels and yeehaw and dip chaw dudes or whatever else.
I think the current term is bro-dozers.
Yeah, mall crawlers, bro-dozers. You know, I have a lower drag truck too, quote, quote. But like, if you look at it that way, it's not going to meet expectations. But Ford also acknowledges that by telling you, hey, we still sell the Ranger, and then we sell the F-150 or the EV50 or whatever they call it now. And then they have the Raptor, and they have all extra delights. I think this is honestly meant for more of the home renovator, the personal garden attendant, a person who likes to live a more of an active lifestyle, kind of like the Subaru Baja, but wants a car for everything else that they do around town and in life. This vehicle, to me, Steven, actually looks like one of those. It's a single vehicle. It's the one-owner vehicle. And
sure.
I think with the mileage and the size and the price, this makes it probably the best vehicle that does everything. And it sits 4 people. You even said the rear leg dimensions.
5.
Huge.
5 people.
Yeah.
I mean, not comfortably, but it has 5 seats.
Yeah, and you can't do that. Yeah, and you can't do that with its competitors. The only vehicles that are being sold right now at this moment that would even come close to competing, I know that the Santa Cruz is out there or coming soon, but the only vehicle that's for sale right now that would be close to competing would be the Frontier, and the Frontier starts at what, 28 for the 4-door.
Yeah, the Frontier is very nearly, and I'm going to just go ahead and say so nearly that it makes no difference, $10,000 more expensive to get a crew cab Frontier as compared to a Maverick. And in exchange for your extra $10,000, just wanted to restate that for extra emphasis here. You pick up a much bigger engine, right? The new 3.8 liter, which is supposedly quite a good mill. We haven't really seen much about it, but
yeah,
I'll take that one on faith. In everything else Nissan's making, it's really good. But more importantly,
and I believe the Frontier is the quickest mid-size pickup truck right now.
Yeah, I can believe that.
You get the
sure, big motor can definitely tow more, quite a bit quicker. Definitely more ruggedized, but still, a crew cab Frontier, if I'm not mistaken, only has a 5-foot bed as an option. I don't think you can get a crew cab with anything other than the short bed.
Yeah.
So the Maverick has a 4.5-foot bed, which is even shorter than most crew cabs. But my argument for this, and I've had a few of these crew cab short beds, and various other trucks. Once you go under the crew cab short bed, 5.5 foot mark, that extra foot shorter kind of doesn't matter. Like, it's too short to put full size sheets of anything in anyway. So the difference between 4 feet and 5.5 feet is kind of irrelevant.
Yep.
So yeah, it just kind of doesn't matter. However, so along with that pricing, right, the Maverick gets you way better gas mileage. Frontiers have never been known for mileage, nor has anything else in this segment, really. It gets you 3 inches more rear, basically the same front leg room, and 3 inches more rear leg room than the Frontier gets in its crew cab variant, which is, I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but it is. Trust. That is a huge amount.
When you're 6'3", the extra 3 inches of legroom is huge. And I know Yuri's out there probably watching this at 6'1.5". You're probably also going to like the rear legroom as well.
Right? We can only hope.
For the prospective parents out there, prospective parents out there with the baby carriages too, or whatever else, this makes it easier to access your. I'm going to butcher the name, but you're the baby carrier yourself, whatever you call them, the carriage,
the car seats, yeah,
the baby seat. Nowadays, it's everything.
Yeah.
Well, nowadays they have everything, right? They have the carriage that turns into the baby handler that turns into the car seat. It's all one thing. Tony Stark.
Yeah, when you have a little kid, yeah, that's a thing. Yeah, that's pretty cool. But yeah, so way more interior room. Also interesting, just some weird tidbits here. The Maverick has a 1,500 pound load capacity, which is quite a lot for a vehicle this small, actually. And unlike the other competitor, which we don't have hard data on, but from what we've heard so far about the Santa Cruz, and definitely true for the Ridgeline, neither one of those can carry 1,500 pounds in the bed. They have the ability to carry 1,500 pounds, but it has to be distributed between the bed and the cabin. The Maverick has the ability to carry its entire payload capacity in its bed, which I don't think not that many people are going to use. However, I think it's a smart move from Ford by setting it up that way to help reduce some of the complaints that, it's not able to do truck stuff, which I'm sure a lot of people are going to say because of its size.
Yeah.
And front-wheel driveness.
Yeah. I mean, we said it's what, like 3 inches shorter than the Ranger, but it's got more passenger room. So it gives you more people room and less cargo room.
10 inches shorter front to back than the Ranger, quite a bit narrower. Yeah. Not a lot, but it's narrower. When I say narrower, quite a bit smaller turning circle, which is probably just due to architecture changes. But depending on whether you're talking about the hybrid, which gets like 1.5 inches less rear legroom than the, I guess, non-hybrid powertrain, because the hybrid pack is under the back seat.
Mm-hmm.
Anywhere from 1.5 inches to like 3 inches more rear legroom than a Ranger, which is a lot of people, and definitely my big complaint with the current Ranger, is that the crew cab doesn't have enough rear legroom. I get that it's a mid-size truck. My argument and this is a whole other thing, but my argument for the Ranger is that it doesn't offer anything over an F-150. It's almost as large. It costs almost as much.
Yeah.
And you might as well just get an XL F-150 and enjoy much more room and capacity.
Yep. So let's round this back over to the price too, because I think that's a major thing to hit on, and then we'll end there. And then I guess what we should do, Stephen, is we'll make this kind of a shorter episode-ish, because we're already at 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then we'll go probably until like the extra or something like that. And we'll just do one kind of talking the bad things about the Ranger and what Ford's line.
In this segment, the Santa Cruz coming out, supposedly, we haven't seen it yet, but it will supposedly come out at a price point of about $25,000 for the base model, which is cheap for a pickup. That still undercuts everybody else in the market, except the Maverick.
Yep.
That said, that's still a lot more money than the Maverick for a vehicle that is, as best we can tell, still going to be a car-based front-wheel drive, very similar to the Maverick. And then we've got also in the segment. Go ahead.
And the Santa Cruz is going to be a simple version too, and this might cater to kind of you. I forget what the name is, but for the people who prefer simpler vehicles, it's going to have the same powertrain as their Optimas are going to have, and it's not going to have any hybrid. There's no batteries. It's just going to be straight gasoline front-wheel drive with all-wheel drive optional, which could be a plus or minus depending what side of the fence you're on. I'm going to maintain neutral for this discussion right now. But the idea that I have a truck-like thing, a trucklet, as Stephen called, that gets 40 miles to the gallon versus a Hyundai that gets probably maybe high 20s at best, and it costs more. I don't think you'd have to want a trucklet that isn't hybrid, but at that point Ford sells you one that has an optional all-wheel drive as well. So I don't see the point really.
Yeah.
My 2 cents.
The other competitor in this market is the Ridgeline, which is, as I've said before, a fantastic vehicle, but is kind of expensive, and by kind of I mean a lot expensive.
Yeah.
The Ridgeline is well
that's a
into
vehicle
the 30s.
That's sized weirdly.
Also, that right, the Ridgeline is quite a bit bigger.
Yeah.
And
the Ridgeline it doesn't quite do full size truck stuff,
but it's an awfully big mini truck.
Yeah, right. But like at that point, van.
I would agree. So that said, I publicly, and I will stand by this, derided Ford a couple years ago when they decided to quit making sedans and bring us the EcoSport as their entry-level vehicle, because that vehicle is an absolute flaming pile of garbage, and whoever signed off on it, you should be ashamed of yourself. There's a reason we don't sell it anywhere outside the U.S., because no one else is dumb enough to buy it. That said, this may be redemption for Ford. This will undercut the EcoSport, and the Maverick will now be the cheapest vehicle on sale by Ford in the United States. To that point, I personally think that the EcoSport will, in short order, probably not have any sales, and maybe up on the chopping block soon. As I just can't imagine why you would buy the EcoSport for more than the Maverick.
Let's bring that up in the next cast too. We'll stick just to the Maverick in this case.
All right. Where do we want to take it from there?
With all this being said and laid out, I got this.
Yeah.
So with all that laid out and some concerns and some ideas and some positive notes about the new Maverick, I want to hear what you guys have to say. Please leave a comment below in the new YouTube channel that we have set up, or you can find us on Facebook. We have the Broken Axle Podcast group tabs where we have a bunch of stuff. I think Steven found an abandoned racetrack that we need to go save, as well as some new merchandise. Steven, you want to take that?
Yeah, and definitely save all the old racetracks. If you get a tip on one for sale, we're all broke because we're all building race cars, but still, got to try and save the racetracks. Can't let them all go to developers and make apartments out of them. Speaking of merch, we have so we've worked with a partner to design a new logo for the channel, which I will show everybody in just a second. And I'll have a link down below in the description. Yeah, right. Shirts, merch.
There it is.
We'll have a link in the description. Right now we've got 2 designs. We're going to work on some more. If you want some shirt, stickers, hoodies, aprons, whatever, water bottles, I don't know. We'll have it all up on the merch store. If you want to see something else, you got some cool ideas for some new merch, definitely hit me or Craig up. If you want to use the logo for something, also hit us up. And other than that, that's all I got. Go break some knuckles. Get back in the garage.
Yeah, go bust some knuckles. We'll be here.